Fantastic Four. It's tracking big, like astronomically big. This is coming from Box Office Theory. We talked about them last week, and they reported Superman tracking. Superman was like on track to make 150 to like 170 million opening weekend. Fantastic Four tickets went on sale this week. Hopefully, you guys grabbed yours. They're on pace, according to Box Office Theory, to have a 125 to 136 million dollar opening. This is coming again off the heels of the Superman tracking. This would be one of the biggest openings for the MCU in a long time. It actually crashed like Fandango on a bunch of ticket sites. When these tickets launched. And this would be on pace with movies like Thor Ragnarok, Iron Man 2, or Thor Love and Thunder, which opened to like 122, 128, and 144 million respectively. Why did we let Thor Love and Thunder open that big? What were we thinking as a society?
People like Ragnarok.
Yeah. We did like Ragnarok. It's a great movie. I stand by that. Ragnarok's a great movie. But
it is.
Is this about what you expected for Fantastic Four? Do you think it was going to be this big?
I kind of did. You brought it up in one of our Discord servers that you think that July could be the biggest month for movies ever. And I agree. We're going to get 3 movies that make over 100 million opening weekend. All 3. This, not just this and Superman, but also Jurassic. I mean, there's no doubt about it. All 3 are going to open over 100. This movie, I thought, was always going to be a bigger deal than some of the last couple Marvel movies. Because this movie feels... we talked about it, I think, every time we bring up both Superman and Fantastic Four. It feels flashier than Brave New World, or as much as I like Thunderbolts, it feels flashier from the marketing for that. It feels fresh and unique. And I mean, Pedro Pascal, he is a household name now. I know we both kind of feel he's kind of risking overexposure at this point.
I don't think so anymore. Because, spoiler alert, he's done with The Last of Us.
That's true.
So, like, as it stands, this is like his only franchise going forward. You know?
Mando.
Well, yes and no. Is he going to take that helmet off in the movie? That's the thing. Like,
he has to. He has to. That would be wild if he didn't.
Because I guess it depends on how you view Mando. Because I view this as like the series finale. Do you think they're going to keep making more movies for Mandalorian and Grogu? Because that's the thing. Like, if Mando's the end and he's just Reed Richards, I think he's past oversaturation at that point.
That's true. I think we're just in for a Pedro summer. Last summer was the summer of Glenn Powell, and this is the summer of Pedro, because we have this. We have this weekend, The Materialists, which, as much as I love Celine's song, movie doesn't look particularly good.
Not too and much he's in Johnson and Chris Evans.
I'm sorry. They don't really wow me. I'm kind of there just for Pedro and Celine. And then Eddington, the Ari Aster movie, which I think Materialists will make more money than Eddington, because everything I've heard about that movie, nobody wants to see a movie about COVID or politics. That's not what we want. But
no.
I like him, and I think people like him. They see him playing Mr. Fantastic. They're going to want to see that. And again, it just looks fresh compared to a lot of the post-Endgame Marvel movies. Like,
I'm with you. I feel like Marvel's at that point where before Marvel could do no wrong, you know, in the public's eyes, they would see. This is why movies like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania made a crap ton of money. Like, to this day, that's one of like the highest grossing Marvel movies of like the last 6 years.
Ooh.
I know, but it's like that movie also burned everybody, and so now they know, you know what? If I don't know you, I'm not watching it. And that's why Thunderbolts made less money than like Black Adam, and that hurts my soul so much. I did the math while you were talking, by the way, Nate, because we didn't talk about Jurassic World Rebirth tracking. That movie's tracking for 116 to 135 $million for its opening 5-day weekend, because it's opening 4th of July weekend. So this is just on the low end, between Jurassic World, Superman, Fantastic Four, their lowest like projections, it would be $391 million across all of their opening weekends combined for the month. That's on the low end. If they all overperform and reach their high end, it's going to be a lot of money. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But the big news here for Fantastic Four, it's tracking extremely well. That's exciting. They got a trailer when the tickets dropped. Did you watch it? How'd you feel about it?
I did. It was quick. Didn't really learn anything new. I also wanted to correct myself on something last week, that Superman marketing was everywhere and I didn't see any cereal boxes for Fantastic Four. That all changed. I don't know if Marvel heard me or something, but now both of these movies are inescapable. And now I felt like an idiot because I'm like, oh wait, no, they're both like everywhere. And also Jurassic is.
Well, I think their marketing push is just like shifting into high gear. Once tickets went on sale, they're everywhere. You can't escape Fantastic Four.
No.
Merch is everywhere, posters, trailers, TV spots. Like, they're going all in. And I think we're just seeing the shift in Hollywood where I think they're realizing long range marketing doesn't really matter. And I was saying this about Superman because people were like, where's the trailer? Why is it taking them so long? It's like, look, man, if you know the movie's coming out, that's all that matters. They don't need to tell you the movie's coming out 9 months in advance. Once you see that trailer at like the Super Bowl or whatever, like that 4-month window is what matters. Because we've reached that point where it's like, and we see this with like video games and stuff where they market so far in advance. Like, I don't need to know a game is coming out 2 years from now.
Yeah.
That's not helping me. So like, tell me the game's coming out in 2 months and I'm there. And I think the same thing's happening with movies where like people knew a Fantastic Four movie was happening. Now Marvel's like, hey, you want to see this in like 40 days? And people are like, hell yeah, I want to see this in 40 days. And they pre-order their tickets.
An interesting question that just popped into my mind. Do you think the 60s setting kind of helps it? Because I look at people like, when I was talking about my mom seeing the Superman trailer and being semi-interested, even with Fantastic Four, she's like, that's kind of neat. It's in the 60s. Like, instead of just being a modern day Fantastic Four movie like the last two, like this has a different feel, or a modern day like the rest of the MCU. Do you think that's kind of helping people be more interested?
Yes and no, because like I was telling you last week, my theaters have not responded well to the Fantastic Four trailers. And I think the 60s aesthetic is a little off-putting for some people, where they're just like, oh, I don't know if I like that. Whereas others are like, oh, that's unique, that's different. And so I think clearly the numbers are showing, by and large, most people are into it and they're digging it. And I think that goes back to Matt Shackman's direction, right? And his eye for that type of stuff. Just look at WandaVision, how popular that was.
Yeah.
So I think for the most part it's helping, but I do see some people seeing that and like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. Why are they wearing sweaters?
I was going to say, Matt Shackman, even though he mainly only worked on television beforehand, he directed one movie and he did It's Always Sunny. But I feel like WandaVision kind of showed that he has a certain particular artistic flair to him when it comes to these Marvel things. Because like you said, WandaVision looked different. It looked visually interesting, I guess, whenever it was inside what was the town called in it?
Westview. But I also just like, think about how great of a showcase that was. Every episode was a different era. And he was able to like honor each individual. That is like the greatest like portfolio, like mixtape any director could ever make. It's like, look, man, I can make it look like I Love Lucy. I can make it look like the Brady Bunch. I can make it look like standard Marvel Cinematic Universe nonsense if you need me to. That's what got him this job. And that's so awesome for him. I love that.
Yeah. I wonder if it would have been the same kind of movie with John Watts, because as you remember in that infamous Disney 2020 Slate video, John Watts was announced to direct it. Do you think it would still be 60s and have this feel?
No, not at all. I love John Watts' work on the Spider-Man films, but everything we were saying earlier, bro, about Sean Levy, that's how I feel about John Watts as well, where it's like he comes in, he kind of does what they want him to do, and he does it well. That's not a bad thing, but it's like I want him to step out of the MCU for a couple movies and showcase his talent as a director. It's there. We know it's there. We've seen it before, but
I mean, he has stepped out since, Skeleton Crew, which was Star Wars Disney.
Yeah, that's a lateral move. You're still in the Disney machine.
I know. I just wanted to say it to
Yeah.
fuck with you.
But it's like the Russos, right? Where
Mm,
the Russos proved when they step out, it doesn't work. So they had
no.
to come back into the machine. And so, like sometimes you just need to do that. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Like if the Russos just stay at Marvel and they keep making movies the quality of like Winter Soldier and Civil War, we're all happy. That's fine.
Yep.
But we also have to admit that they don't work well outside the system.
I
So if it was John Watts, that's kind of how I feel to answer that question.
I will say I do kind of feel like an idiot because like the last weekend of April, I hadn't done it in so long. But my friend Will was doing it on his letterbox, and he was predicting the top 10 movies of the summer domestically.
Yeah.
And this is something that I didn't want to happen, and I actually don't think it's going to happen anymore. But I put Fantastic Four at above Superman.
Yeah.
But I had Lilo and Stitch at number one, and I feel even more validated about it because that movie, yeah. But I mean, I think this movie's going to be a hit that Marvel needs. It'll be interesting to see how it legs out, just like Superman and just like Jurassic. Like, if all of these movies are just fine, I don't know how that's gonna like. They can open huge, but it depends what
Yeah.
happens.
They're all tracking to have a massive opening. It depends. Like, and we were talking about this privately
Mm-hmm.
in the chat after Discord server. If you guys want us to open that up to the public, let us know. We can try that. I'm cool with
Mm-hmm.
that. But we were talking with our friend Trayvon and Cliff, and we were talking about the lack of family films and
Mm-hmm.
how those have kind of just died out. And it's like this year's kind of the renaissance of that because we're getting How to Train Your Dragon, we have Lilo and Stitch, we had Minecraft, right?
We have
Already,
Smurfs, Mike. We have Smurfs.
we're here for Rihanna. We stand the Smurfs, but um, Superman being a comic movie that feels like it's for families, I think,
Mhm.
is what's going to give that movie legs. And Trayvon mentioned that Fantastic Four is very much a family as well, so maybe that'll
Yep.
help. Um, I just don't know if the movie's been marketed that way. We'll have to see what happens when it comes out, I guess, because like this is the first time. Spoilers, I guess, for the trailer that came out. We see Franklin,
Yep.
so we see the baby, and that's cute. And I just wonder how much of the family aspect are we going to lean into, And I wonder how artistic this movie's going to be. Like will kids be bored with Fantastic Four?
That's what worries me about those test screens, which it turns out those were true, is they said it doesn't focus on the family dynamic as much, and I'm like, I hope that's not. Maybe it's just one jaded guy who just hates
Yeah.
all Marvel movies. But trailers did show that, so I'm gonna listen to the trailers instead of random grouchy guy who saw the movie early with unfinished VFX. Like, screw you,
That's
dude.
valid. But yeah, when it comes to like how these end up, families love dinosaurs and
They
Jurassic.
do. What what little boy doesn't love dinosaurs? I mean,
Yeah. It's a
it's
canon event
PG.
for all boys, if we're being honest.
Exactly. I mean, yes, it's PG-13, but like I watched the original Jurassic Park quite young because my dad owned it on like VHS, and I was just like, I think like 3 or 4, and I'm like, I want to watch that. I like dinosaurs. My parents let me, and they were strict about what I could watch. So families are going to show up, I think, for all three of these movies.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it could be beneficial because August isn't as crowded as you might think. All of the movies coming out in August, and even the week between Superman and Fantastic Four. That is, Mike, your beloved Smurfs. I'm just gonna clown with you on that.
It
And
has
that,
Rihanna, so it still counts. Yes, my beloved
yes.
Spurs.
And that's I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I mean, that is a horror reboot. I wonder how it will do because we just saw Final Destination like shock everybody with its opening weekend, so that could be counter programming. But August, all of these movies feel like good counter programming. They can carry over, and we saw that happen. This just popped into my mind.
Yeah.
But back in 2012, I remember that was the summer of the Avengers and everything. It was the big movies that came out earlier, like The Dark Knight Rises, like Amazing Spider-Man, or even like the R-rated comedies like Ted, like those were doing well still months later. And maybe that could happen again. I don't know, but I mean, I think the month of August gives them a good opportunity to continue because none of those movies are going to dominate like these three movies are. And people hopefully want to rewatch all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, preferably more Fantastic Four and Superman because
I'm gonna just be selfish for a second. We need Superman to win this out
we do.
because Marvel will be okay, Jurassic will be okay. If Superman doesn't do well, DC's cooked. It is over. Warner Brothers as a studio might be cooked if Superman does poorly. So like, not to like back one of these movies because I want all of them to do well. I'm going to see all of them probably multiple times. Superman needs to win out.
That's true. Okay, yeah, I would agree. But what if? And I'm you. Okay, no. I'm gonna.
Go ahead, say it.
I'm gonna meme. I'm gonna meme. What if, in backwards logic, Superman bombs and they just move forward with Matt Reeves' Batman 2?
Oh gosh.
Not Snyder. No, I'm not talking Snyder. I'm just being a Reeves cultist, I guess.
Release the Reeves cut.
But no, I'm rooting for Superman. I really want that movie to succeed. Especially, I mean, I love that character, but I really love James Gunn and what he's done with Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. So I just really need this because the DCU sounds cool and I want it to be good. I don't want Supergirl to be scrapped. I don't want David Zaslav to look at that probably by that time. The movie's already been filmed. I don't want him to backdraw it.
Yeah, they've got a year's worth of VFX to do for Supergirl. If you guys have read Woman of Tomorrow, it's a beautiful book. They're gonna need every second from now until next year to finish the VFX on that film, though. But yeah, to wrap this up, all three of these movies are tracking extremely well. On the high end, they're all going to cross $135 million, according to Box Office Theory. And so it depends if they have legs, like they were saying. So if they have that rewatchability and people go back to them, all these movies are going to do fine. Huge win, possibly for Marvel with Fantastic Four, especially because Thunderbolts lost them like $100 million, which hurts my soul because they made a good movie for the first time in a couple years. And now we're right back into Robert Downey's Dr. Doom. So
it annoys me too that they took it. Apparently, they took it out of theaters. I don't know if that is true or not. I was reading a couple places, and I'm like, I still saw the poster for The Accountant 2 right outside my theater. That movie's on Amazon now.
Yeah,
streaming for free.
It's leaving. It was leaving a lot of theaters. I mean, like it's still at mine, but now we're at the like 2 showings a day for a movie that like just came out like a month ago, month and a half maybe now. That's not ideal, especially for a Marvel movie. Those used to stick around. Everything else would leave and Marvel movies would stay. So that's concerning, but hopefully Fantastic Four like cuts the difference a little bit.
Oh, it will. I think so.